So the question you've got for me is give an example of a standout Geospatial 2.0 company. By definition, let's just talk about Geospatial 2.0 first of all. So I've defined Geospatial 2.0 as the aggregation of static and dynamic data processed by AI. So it's location data and technology to drive a better, faster decision making. And it's really all about improving business outcomes. So that's kind of the backdrop to Geospatial 2.0. And I think I've mentioned it, it's kind of Wild West at the minute. It's early day, it's like the early days of the internet. Lots of small startups, but there aren't so many larger established organizations in the mix. So I've kind of pondered that and thought, well, who's in the mix, who I sort of see as one of those more established companies. And I think Foursquare is the one that comes to my mind. I remember when Foursquare first came out as an app, a check-in app, and there were other companies in the space like Geospatial, who have just been in the news the other day, who were competitive with them. But I always thought they were somewhat unusual because of the data they were collecting. So I was very interested by the data. And Dennis Crowley kind of tracked his career over time and his work with Foursquare. I think he was talking about the fact that the data tells stories, how people move around through the world. Understanding of people and places is kind of at the core of what he talks about. And he talks about how that helps create smarter business outcomes. And I think that, at the heart of Geospatial 2.0 is really what kind of Dennis talks about there. So a lot of the discussions that Foursquare have been in, and the kind of marketing that they've pushed out there is focus on location data and location technology, and they're very independent as well. And it's been interesting to look at Foursquare. They've been going through some big changes just recently. 2019 they bought Placed, I don't know how you pronounce that, Placed, which are really were focused on marketing and ad effectiveness using location data. And then last year they bought Factual, who are really around sort of audience segmentation. So sort of advertising marketing spaces where they've been focused, but leveraging location data and location technology to help those organizations advertising and marketing better understand the people and effectively the places that they visit. So really interesting, and again, I kind of see what the work is that they're doing. I think we're now, in the marketing and advertising space, we've moved away from this sort of interruption world, more into this kind of one-on-one building customer relationships. And again, I think that's kind of where Foursquare's world is really focused. So, and there have been some interesting articles of late about the evolution of Foursquare. Mike Boland wrote something, who's an industry analyst, on sort of the consolidation M&A and the fact that Foursquare have been out there acquiring companies that complement their core offering. He actually called them the 800-pound gorilla of location and intelligence, and I take exception with Mike Bowen. I don't really like the term location intelligence, but it was interesting to read that article. And I'm someone that's been in the industry, the geospatial industry, location data and technology industry for 25 years, so kind of lived on the technology business side of it. So I've always watched the evolution of the technology, but then with a really close eye on the business side of things. And now my world's really focused on strategy and execution. So I think I suggest that Foursquare is a company that are important in the 2.0 space. I'm really intrigued by what they're doing. And I've worked and seen companies that have done acquisitions, and sometimes they can go really right and sometimes that can really go wrong. It's building that synergy between the pieces. But I think that my impression about Foursquare is that they've got the right mix of companies currently there. I think that mix of companies offers some really interesting opportunities to within their existing sectors that they're focused on, but there's some wider opportunities, I think, that what their data and what the technology they've got offers. So it's intriguing to see what the future is. I have a sense that the future is very, very bright for Foursquare. So that's my, in answer to your question, a standout Geospatial 2.0 company. I would say Foursquare are one of those companies.